The modern music industry has always dictated a rule that seems absolute. If you want to become a global superstar, you must bend to the will of massive record labels, invest millions of dollars in marketing, and sacrifice your artistic idealism just to chase whatever pop trend happens to be viral on TikTok at the moment. We are constantly told that without a corporate machine backing you, breaking into the global market is practically impossible. Yet a quiet teenage girl from Lancashire, England, completely ripped up that rulebook and rewrote history on her own terms. Without a multi-million-dollar contract from a major label, without controversial public stunts, and without producing loud, generic electronic pop music, she managed to amass over 1.5 billion views on YouTube. While former reality television winners routinely fade into obscurity and are forgotten in a matter of months, this young girl's digital empire continues to expand into an unstoppable global force. The most shocking part of this entire phenomenon is that her massive viral dominance was absolutely not an accident. It was the result of a highly calculated, deeply unorthodox digital blueprint that deliberately every traditional rule existing in the modern music ecosystem. To truly grasp how this digital miracle occurred, we have to wind back the clock to the exact moment the illusion of television stardom first shattered. In 2018, a 14-year-old girl stepped onto the stage of The Voice Kids UK. Wearing a simple dress and carrying a level of composure that was highly unusual for someone her age, she delivered a classical performance so flawless it left the celebrity judges visibly stunned in their seats. Her voice possessed a spiritual depth rarely found in modern singers, a natural gift that instantly transformed her into a crowd favorite across the entire nation. Yet, despite having a massive wave of public support, her journey on the show came to an abrupt halt in the semifinals. For most young artists, a devastating loss on national television is a career-ending blow that crushes their dreams before they even begin. The industry is full of tragic stories of gifted children who vanished into total obscurity after their television dreams collapsed. However, behind the scenes, that elimination was actually a massive blessing in disguise that saved her entire future. Behind the velvet curtains of reality television lies a dark, corporate truth. Winning often means surrendering your artistic soul to highly restrictive, multi-year contracts. These corporate traps usually strip away your creative control, dictate how you dress, determine exactly what songs you are allowed to sing, and worst of all, drain the vast majority of your earnings to line the pockets of label executives. By walking off that stage without the crown, she avoided the corporate trap entirely, leaving her completely free to execute a much more brilliant long-term play. Instead of chasing fleeting radio pop trends, or trying to become the next heavily manufactured teen icon produced by the mainstream industry factory, the team behind this young singer made a highly risky, counterintuitive decision. They made a conscious choice to completely ignore the volatile youth demographic. They chose not to sign with a major label in London or Los Angeles, opting instead to partner with a small, independent label called Cavendish Records. Their very first move was to focus entirely on a genre that modern radio stations considered completely dead: West End musical theater, classical crossover tracks, and timeless power ballads. The mainstream music industry today is utterly obsessed with short, fast-paced, hypersexualized tracks designed to satisfy the rapidly shrinking attention span of modern consumers. However, her digital strategy specifically targeted an older, financially stable, and fiercely loyal demographic, a massive global audience that had been completely abandoned by the mainstream market. By treating music as an enduring craft rather than a disposable internet trend, they successfully tapped into viewers who were desperately starving for authentic vocal talent. Finding the right audience was only half the battle, though, because the true secret weapon lay in how they systematically manipulated the digital algorithm with terrifying precision. If you study her YouTube channel deeply, the visual presentation displayed seems almost too simple for modern viral video standards. There are no fast camera cuts, no flashing neon graphics, no grand concert lighting, and absolutely no expensive cinematic special effects. The format of the videos is almost always identical: a high-quality studio microphone, a sterile or minimalist recording room backdrop, and a steady camera lens locked entirely onto her facial expressions as she sings. This approach is not due to a lack of budget. It is actually a highly sophisticated psychological trigger designed explicitly for audience retention. In a digital landscape currently drowning in over-edited, overstimulating content that induces sensory overload, absolute simplicity stands out like a beacon of light in a chaotic storm. This format forces the viewer to have no other choice but to focus entirely on the raw emotional delivery and the purity of the vocal performance. Because there are no jarring visual distractions to break the spell, viewers tend to stay glued to the screen from the very first note until the final second of the video ends. In the world of YouTube metrics, this behavior translates into an incredibly high audience retention rate. When the algorithm detects that millions of people are watching a video without clicking away or leaving halfway through, the platform's artificial intelligence immediately flags the content as highly valuable. Consequently, the algorithm begins to aggressively push that video onto millions of new user homepages worldwide, creating an organic snowball effect without spending a single penny on paid advertising. This organic hijacking of the recommendation engine was heavily supercharged by a brilliant and highly structured metadata strategy. Her YouTube channel did not make the common mistake of trying to force unknown, original songs down the throats of a brand new audience, a fatal error that independent musicians commit every single day. Instead, they systematically targeted legendary, timeless masterpieces that already possessed a massive global search volume hour after hour. They selected epic tracks like Hallelujah, Never Enough from The Greatest Showman, and the iconic ballads of. Millions of people all over the earth type these exact song titles into the YouTube search bar every single day. By releasing pristine cover versions featuring audiophile-grade audio clarity, her digital team essentially siphoned off that massive pre-existing global search traffic. Every single time a user in America, Asia, or Europe searched for their favorite Broadway classic, the YouTube algorithm displayed this young girl's face at the top of the search results because her retention metrics were vastly superior to her competitors. It was a flawless digital traffic loop. They did not have to struggle to search for an audience. The audience was actively searching for the songs, and YouTube's recommendation system delivered her directly to them. This strategy instantly converted casual searchers into permanent, obsessive subscribers, expanding her global exponentially day after day. However, building an independent empire of this magnitude without the explicit permission of traditional music industry gatekeepers does not happen without significant friction. When an independent channel begins generating hundreds of millions of views organically, it starts to severely disrupt the comfort zones of major labels who spend millions of dollars in corporate backing just to achieve the exact same numbers. Rumors and behind-the-scenes whispers within the industry have circulated for years regarding an invisible, intense pressure coming from major music corporations. Outside forces felt deeply frustrated that a small, independent team from the north of England was dominating global digital charts and outperforming their A-list mainstream artists without relying on traditional promotional infrastructure. This industry friction often manifested as subtle distribution hurdles or restricted access to mainstream broadcast platforms. Yet, the most alarming and immediate threat did not emerge from corporate boardrooms. It materialized directly within the very digital community they had spent years building. As her viral popularity began surging completely out of control, a highly sophisticated wave of digital attacks began targeting her fiercely loyal, identically styled clone accounts, automated social media bots, and fraudulent profiles using her name and likeness began popping up across the internet like wildfire. These predatory accounts infiltrated the comment sections, sent direct messages to older, vulnerable fans, and distributed malicious links promising exclusive behind-the-scenes content or fake concert tickets. The situation grew toxic enough to genuinely threaten the cybersecurity of her followers, forcing her management team to take emergency measures by issuing official security alerts to protect their community from digital predators. Facing this constant threat behind the scenes proved a harsh new reality, that becoming an independent star in the internet age demands a level of cybersecurity awareness and crisis management just as heavy as any corporate record label handles. Recognizing that the digital landscape is highly volatile and full of sudden threats, the team behind this success did not sit idly by. They immediately executed a vital tactical pivot to future-proof her entire career. They aggressively her monetization streams and broke free from a total reliance on YouTube ad revenue, which can be incredibly unstable. They understood that algorithms can change overnight, and relying on a single platform is an incredibly dangerous game for long-term business survival. As a solution, they shifted their focus toward converting millions of casual, free viewers into a self-sustaining economic ecosystem. They launched premium, ticketed digital concerts broadcasted with high-fidelity audio technology, allowing fans from every corner of the globe to watch her perform live from the comfort of their homes, with a quality rivaling a real theater. Not stopping there, they began breaking into the physical world independently, booking prestigious live stage showcases at iconic venues like London's Royal Lane. Another highly ambitious project was her heavy involvement in new musical theater concept albums which instantly shot to the top of the iTunes charts solely due to the direct support of her internet. The absolute pinnacle of this digital protection strategy occurred when they made the decision to launch a private, premium community platform completely outside the reach of public social media networks. Within this exclusive, specialized network, her most dedicated fans pay a monthly subscription fee to gain access to rare behind-the-scenes footage, direct interactions, and early music releases. By building this paid inner circle, they created an incredibly insulated financial fortress. This strategy perfectly proved a brand new thesis in the creator economy, that an artist no longer requires an exhausting global stadium tour or a massive corporate distribution deal to achieve extraordinary financial independence. Simply by cultivating a few thousand deeply dedicated superfans, an independent musician can quietly run a multi-million-dollar enterprise. Looking back at the sheer scale and remarkable journey of the digital empire built around Lucy Thomas, it becomes impossible to ignore that a massive tectonic shift is occurring in the global entertainment industry. The era where a handful of elderly male executives sitting in luxurious boardrooms in New York or London could single-handedly dictate who gets to be a star and what songs the world is allowed to hear has officially come to an end. The internet and platform algorithms have democratized the entire ecosystem, placing absolute power directly into the hands of the artists and the audiences who love them. By rejecting the mainstream formula that so often destroys artistic integrity, maintaining an intimate and simple visual presentation, and leveraging digital search mechanics with absolute precision, a quiet teenage girl from a small town managed to build a legacy far more secure and enduring than almost any reality television winner of the past decade. This phenomenon ultimately leaves us with a highly disruptive question regarding the future of commercial music. If a teenager with an internet connection, a studio microphone, and smart digital management can quietly conquer the global music industry from a local recording studio, do major record labels even have a reason to exist in the modern world?